Hello everybody, my name is Stella and welcome to the Grey Zone. I created this channel for ADHD people who haven't found their success story yet. You may be struggling and you don't find your purpose, but you notice something is wrong and you actively making changes to make your life better and easier. And my dream is to create a community where ADHD people can feel comfortable enough to share their stories, their life experiences, and also simply having someone that you can relate to who is going through the same thing as you. I just want us to go through this gray zone together and make it more colorful. And today's video is going to be about, is ADHD a superpower? I'm sure most of you heard about this before. You saw videos on TikTok or YouTube. Most of the time they are featuring successful people with ADHD, and they usually say their ADHD is a very powerful asset. Sorry, my cat is playing. Please go. So they are saying that their ADHD is a really powerful asset, it's a blessing, and it helps them make themselves successful. And they also say, this is funny, because I heard that they say, oh, I'm successful, I created a $1 billion business, but I can't close a door, or I can't clean. And I was like, girl, pick a struggle, because I thought to myself that, oh my god, you are successful, and you are complaining about not closing a door or being messy. I mean, you can do that, you can allow yourself to make these kind of mistakes, because you reach the point that almost all people in humanity wants to reach: success, lots of money. So yeah, by the way, I'm just kidding, but I really felt this way for a while. And one line that stuck with me every time I see these videos, that they say that if I can do it, you can do it too. And it triggered something in me, because I looked at my life and I saw that I'm not successful. I'm failing at things other people consider normal. So no, I just can't do these things that you can. Sorry. And yeah, I questioned myself all the time. And I sort of became bitter and resentful toward these people. And today I want to share a story with you that was a huge indicator for me getting diagnosed. So make yourself comfortable, grab a snack, and let's just go back about 3 years ago. I was just 19, I just graduated high school, and me and my boyfriend moved in together for the first time. And at first it was all sunshine and rainbows and everything was happy, until it wasn't. You know, in the dating phase, you ignore the red flags, or just some of the red flags, because it doesn't affect you as much like when you are living together. And you know, you say, oh, it's a bit annoying, but I can put up with it. But when you are glued to each other 24/7, you live in the same house, you just can't you just can't walk past these red flags and issues and bad habits. They show like 10 times more. And yeah, it happened with us too, mostly me. And my ADHD symptoms made their appearance very soon.
I'm just gonna scooch in right here if you don't mind. Shh.
And it was in a form of problems with executive dysfunction. I had a really hard time to start and finish things, and also it was really hard for me to get up from bed and do the stuff that I want to do. Even if I loved the things that I wanted to do, I just couldn't bring myself to do them. It was painful. And also I was really impulsive. I made bad decisions at that time. And not just bad decisions. I had a really hard time thinking before I speak, or just sit down before I make a decision and just think logically before it. So that's why I made bad decisions. That's why people thought I was stupid, because I said the wrong thing. And the last thing, I was really bad at organizing. My organization skills were non-existent. I was really messy. I was bad at cleaning. My clothes were all over the place, all over the floor. I left my fridge open. I left the door open so our cat escaped. Like, I'm talking about things like that that caused minor accidents or even major ones. And yeah, these things slowly affected our relationship. My boyfriend mentioned these things like, why don't you pick up after yourself, and etc. And it didn't feel like a big deal for him at first, because maybe he thought I was going through a hard time and I forget. But you know, when things doesn't change for a long period of time, your partner gets frustrated. They feel like their needs don't matter. They are invalidated. And they just feel ignored. And it was none of our fault, you know, because I didn't know I had ADHD at that time. But he started to call me lazy, and he said, you just don't care. And it was really incredibly painful for me to hear, because I heard these things in all my life. But hearing these things from the people who I loved the most, it was really like a stab in the chest. But at the same time, it didn't make sense that I don't care, because if I don't care, why do I feel so much shame and self-hatred every time I mess up? So I internalized that idea that I don't care, so I tried to try harder. But that's really ironic, because whenever I tried harder, the more I failed. And that was because these desires to change and these ambitions to change came from a place of fear, anxiety, shame. And you just simply can't hate yourself into being a better version of yourself. This doesn't work at all. You know, it created this snowball effect, the constant trying and failing and trying and failing, and over time this snowball turned into the size of a house. And yeah, I completely lost trust in myself, because even if I want to do things right, I do it 10 times worse. And I just lost trust in myself. And also my boyfriend lost trust in me, because I was constantly making these promises that I would do better, but instead I'm just doing worse. And this really strange dynamic formed between us. It's gonna sound weird, but it was like a parent and child dynamic. He felt like he has to be responsible for me. He had to tell me what to do, like, pick up your stuff, why are you not present, why aren't you listening to me? And yeah, it put a huge strain on our relationship. I was unhappy, he was unhappy, and we decided to take a break to reflect on ourselves and our relationship. So yeah, it was that bad. We were on the verge of breaking up, and I moved home, back to my parents' house. And the time, even long before we moved in together, I suspected I had ADHD, but I haven't had the resources, finances, you know, to make it happen. And also my parents didn't support me at all, because they didn't believe me. They said, you don't have ADHD, just try harder, don't be lazy, you know, all these things. But obviously I tried these out and didn't work. So yeah, when I moved back home, I started to research my options for a diagnosis. And it was really expensive, but I was able to find a clinic that did it a little bit cheaper than the others, so I went with that. I spent about 2 months at my parents' house, and eventually I was able to move back to the city where me and my boyfriend live, because I got a job, and also I rented a room for myself. And also I saved up for the diagnosis. And the diagnosis process took about 2 months, but it was all worth the wait, because yeah, I got my diagnosis and I couldn't be happier. And this massive weight that was sitting on my shoulder just fell off. I thought I was not an idiot, I wasn't just imagining things, and I can finally start focusing on getting help. And I want to mention my boyfriend was really supportive through all that. He even covered the part of the cost of my diagnosis. And also my best friend, I just love her, and I just thank them both for being there for me and supporting me. So yeah, I was starting to focusing on getting help. I went to therapy to work on my trauma that ADHD caused me, and yeah, 4 months later I started medication too, and it was totally a game changer. It haven't done the work instead of me, I had to put in the work, but it gave me a really good foundation and a clear headspace for me to be able to try and build those systems to make my life easier. When I got my diagnosis, this validation and this support literally made me heal. I wasn't failing at things as much anymore, I didn't make as much mistakes, and it created also a domino effect that my relationship started to heal too. We spent about 6 months apart, but after that we moved back with each other. And yeah, trust issues are really hard to work through, but we are on a really good path to just work things out and heal completely. And that's when having ADHD can feel like a superpower, and I still think that ADHD itself is not a superpower, it's actually a pain in the ass. And when you are struggling, you just build this wall around yourself, and this wall is built by rejection, shame, failure, judgment from others, also bullying, and you just can't see through these walls if you are deep into your struggles. But when you get the right help and you use these tools that make your life easier, it pokes holes through the thick wall and you see light coming out of it, and these are your superpowers and good qualities. For example, like my empathy, my talents to sports, I'm a really good listener. And that's the first step, just to notice, because when you are so focused on your mistakes and failures, these good qualities gonna fade out a little bit. And yeah, that's when ADHD can feel like a superpower, when you get the right help and the support that you need, because deep into struggling, when someone comes to you and says that, oh, you are so negative and don't be so sad because your ADHD is a superpower, that's incredibly invalidating and you're gonna just feel worse. And I'm on that first step that I notice my superpowers, and I still can't use them as I want to, but I'm on a good path to reach that goal, and I truly wish the same thing for you. And let me tell you something, when you see these videos on YouTube, these motivational videos, you just see the tip of the iceberg. You don't see their struggles behind the camera. You only see the things that are filmed and that they say on the video, but comparing yourself to that is a recipe for disaster, and also you never be happy if you compare yourself to people you don't know. And I'm not saying comparison and comparing yourself to others is inherently bad, but when this comparison is coming from a place of shame or self-hatred or bitterness, I don't know, that's gonna mess with your head. Because if you don't use these videos to learn, or when they doesn't come from a place of curiosity or acceptance, that's the thing that makes your life miserable, or at least it did for me. And everyone has a different path. So take me for example, I was diagnosed relatively early. I was 21 by the way, but it was still enough time to incredibly impact my life. I don't know where I would be if I got diagnosed at 10 years old or even younger. And my parents didn't even support me as much. Even when I showed them my diagnosis, my paper, they said I was just exaggerating, I just imagining things. And there are people who got diagnosed in early childhood. Their parents teach them tools to manage their life, to not be ashamed for who they are, and this nurturing and supportive environment teaches kids that it's okay to be different, and they're gonna grow up like that. And I'm sure they have struggles, and you just can't compare that to someone who is in their 40s or 50s and went through almost a whole lifetime feeling like a failure. And if you feel like something is wrong, and you have the resources, or you have the gut feeling that something is not right, please get help, because you are probably right. And if you don't have the resources, please surround yourself with people who love you, support you, because they don't want to see you struggle and going through this alone. And that's gonna make it so much easier until you can get the help. And if you took one thing away with you in this video, just please be kinder to yourself and be kind to others. Because I see so many people just watching others fail and watching others struggle, and they decide to just watch and do nothing, and even worse, they decide to bully them or judge them and saying things like, oh, why are you like this, don't do that. And if you are mad because someone made a mistake or didn't do the things in a way you would do the things and you get mad, that's a you problem. And the last thing I want to say is to be kind to yourself. And if you are in a place like I was, so and the last thing I want to tell you is be kind to yourself and also be kind to others, because I see so many. And one last thing that I want to tell you is be kind to yourself and also be kind to others, because I see people and the last thing I want to say is to be kind to yourself and be kind to others, because I see so many And the last thing I want to say is to be kind to yourself and also others, because I see a lot of people who watch other people fail and make mistakes, and they decide to bully them instead of helping and judging them and saying things like, oh, why you did this, why are you like this. It takes the same energy to help instead of judging and bullying. Because I'm sure the person who made the mistake doesn't want to be in this position. And I'm not talking about those people who make the same mistakes over and over again and they decide not to learn from them and keep making them. I'm just talking about people who are really struggling and they don't know better. So just in summary, what I told you in this video: be kind to yourself, be kind to others, get help, and don't compare yourself to other people. And I hope I could help you in this video, and I would be so happy if I was able to help even one of you. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed. Have a great weekend and I love you. See you next time. Bye bye.